My name's Ellie, welcome to my channel. We're doing more makeup. Again, I tried to do something with my hair and it's got, I don't know, shape? I wanted to dig into the Metropolis palette again. I saw somebody do a tutorial on a really, really warm look out of here and I was like, there's cool tones in here, I should play with that because I'm a monster. So I want to do something with this pretty green and either this pinky rose gold or this kind of, I don't know, mid-toned grayish thing. I want to play with them. We got foundation, powder, primer, and stuff on. So I'm going to start very carefully building up some of the mattes. I'm going to go in with probably these two for my crease. I say carefully because I know these are pretty damn pigmented. So, yeah, I'm just making sourdough today and hanging out. Started watching Space Force. I feel like I used up most of my energy looking for and buying my car, so I am a bit tired. But also, I have my sourdough starter that I've been using for rolls so that I can make sandwiches to bring to work. And I wanted to make it because they're like an all-day thing. You have to start the dough at like 8 or 9 in the morning if you want it done by dinner time. I can hear my neighbor's kid having a meltdown, so I don't know if you can. We'll see how long that lasts. So, in order to make it, I have the sourdough starter and I have to take it out of the fridge and kind of like prep it with feeding it a couple times to make enough. And it takes a big volume of sourdough starter. So I have to make sure I have enough. And then you have to mix all the shit together and then let it rest for an hour and then do this like folding version of kneading. And then let it rest for an hour and then do another folding. And then let it rest for an hour and then you do one last folding and you let it bulk ferment for 4 hours. Once that's done, I get to form it into balls, let it rise for an hour, and then I get to bake it. It takes all day, but they turned out really nice. And I very much enjoyed having them, so I'm making more. But it is like a lot of bread. Do a step, let it sit. Do a step, let it sit. Ugh. My contact is very dry, so we will see how long that takes before my eye is angry. I'm going to take a bigger brush and just start trying to diffuse this out. It's more neutral as opposed to cool. I was hoping it was going to be cool. I don't have any cool tones in here that are as pinky as I want. But most of the cool tones in here are very green or gray, whereas like there's kind of like some peachy tones, but this is a much more warm leaning palette, which of course makes me want to find all the cool tones and use them because I'm a nightmare. I'm going to go into the one right below it, Antique, and start deepening my crease. and hoping that all the powder does not make my eye water. Then blend. I've been having such a good time with my Project Pan shadows that since I didn't have anything super new or super specific that I had in mind, I was like, okay, I need to use my other makeup. This is the time I use my other makeup. Oh, still. I don't know if you guys have contacts and you know when it's dry and kind of sticks to your eye a little bit and you want to move it to kind of prompt your eye to re-wet and be a little better. That's what I'm dealing with while trying to put on stuff. Technically, I could have put on new contacts. That would have been a better idea. Because I have contacts I switch out monthly, and it is the last day of the month, so I could have just started next month's amount. That would have made sense. Don't know why I didn't do that. Okay. Gonna go into Jubilee, which is the shimmery green, and try and put this on the outer half. We got a nice social distance visit with my sister yesterday. We go and drive over and sit on the outside of their fence, and because she's got 2 small children, that one of which is, you know, less than a year old, and the other one is old enough to know, like, can follow instructions like, hey, we're not getting close, but doesn't have the spatial capacity for knowing what 6 feet is. But if we sit 6 feet away from the fence and he's on the other side of the fence, he cannot get too close for dangers, and then we can still kind of see them, because before all the pandemic and everything, we were seeing them a couple times a week. My parents watch my nieces and nephews. They help out with that while the parents are at work throughout the week. And then we also have a family dinner that we were doing every Sunday. So that means 2 or 3 times a week, depending on, you know, if they have a visit or if they need something done, they would be watching the babies, and we're not seeing them anymore, and it makes it very jarring when we go over there and see that one of them has gotten huge. One of them is all of a sudden standing, when the last time we saw her, she was a newborn, basically. Couldn't do much. Could barely even hold her head up. Well, I guess we've seen her a couple weeks before that, but she's just small ones. They add so many skills way too fast. So we're having the opposite issue with, not technically an issue, just like weird brain processing stuff, where since I saw my first niece and nephew so often that I wouldn't really draw attention to the fact that they'd made a big cognitive or behavioral boost. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, 2 weeks ago they weren't doing that. And now you're like, oh my god, we missed this, we missed this, we missed all these things. We got a recording of my other nephew, who is just starting to make like cooing sounds and verbalize more, and he's, you know, chatting in response to my sister, and very, very cute. That is a really pretty turquoisey green. I am going to go into, what is it called? Crest. the more pinky one. I think I want to use that instead of Mace, which was the lighter one. So this very kind of terracotta-y rose gold shade. Oh, I like that. And then I might use a little bit of Mace on the inner corner for lightness. Ooh, ooh, that's pretty. That is one of the things I really like about makeup is I'll do the same look over and over again, and then I'll just have a random self-challenge urge of like, use the green. You never use the green. Because there's so many nice golds in here, and I didn't really draw for Jubilee, or I think it's Aqueous. They're not quite as dark as I normally like outer corner shimmers to be, and I wasn't super sure how I wanted to pair them with some of the mid to lighter shimmers in here. But I really like how that's turning out. I'm going to start blending the edge. Do. They mix it together to make like a cool tone kind of gold at their transition point. That's real cool looking. I am going to take a teensy bit of Mace just to kind of pop on that intersection and maybe on my lower lash lines. Just kind of like right there. Probably won't do anything visible because they're pretty close in tone, but it'll make me feel like I did something. And I have been liking putting something down on these inner lower third sections. So we're going to do that. It's not going to be super visible, especially because the shimmer ended up being so close to the crease shade, but I feel like it makes the overall transition on like what I'll put on the inner corner more seamless. And we're going to go into Queen for the inner corner because that is really the best and kind of only inner corner highlight for me in this palette. Oh, you can't see it because it's basically just my skin tone only shiny. But it's got a little bit of peachy goldness in it. It is a nice highlight for most of the colors in this palette. But since it's the only one, I'm going to go through it the fastest. Ooh. And that is the eyes done. I think it turned out really, really cool. Let's do the rest of my face. Because I have like the last use of a highlighter that I want to use up today. I think that's going to be fun. Try to knock all the powder off my face without getting too in my hair. drink some water. I'm alternating water and energy drinks so I don't get myself too dehydrated. I drink a shit ton of water during the week just because it's something I have on my desk that I just kind of like use as a fidget distraction, is take a drink of water. And so on the weekends when I'm like actually about and doing stuff in like smaller, shorter tasks, it makes it harder to be like, okay, when's the last time I drank water? Shit. I'm using my Franken bronzer, but it's a little busted. I need to repress it. So we're going to be careful. It's just been kind of like disappearing off one side. And I was hoping to do my monthly update before having to repress it, since it seems to be going down. It's not nearly as tall as it was a month ago, but we will see. Whatever combination of stuff is in it from the different things I mix together, it doesn't seem to want to hold into the pan very well, because I've had it come out of the pan and then I tried to press it back in and whatever, so there's something missing that would allow it either maybe some more rigidity or some more moisture to allow it to really stay adhered to the pan after being pressed in. But it might be the opposite. It might be that it's too moist. You know how sometimes you'll get a palette and a shimmer shade will just completely thunk out of the pan because it's too, I think silicone is one of the components that makes it do that. If it's a really, really moist, creamy one, they're more likely to do that. It does mean you can't just kind of press them right back into the pan, but you have to keep an eye on whether or not it's going to fall out if you angle your pan funny. Making rolls, using my sourdough. I also use some of the leftover bits to make a chocolate cake, which I'm excited about. I still have to frost it, but it tasted really good. It smells really good. So yeah, you can see it kind of like is chipping away at the corner. It will be repressed. Oh, nope. Forgot my nose. I've been forgetting that I like the bronzer on the side of my nose until I get to the end of my face and I'm like, why does just this part look so pale and undefined? Because I'm not committed to contouring it, but I am generally using a little bit of bronzer to make sure it actually shows up against the corpsiness of my face. Because I am very pale, and when I match my skin tone with my foundation, it makes me very, very flat and corpse-like. We're going to keep using my Argyle and Bahama Mama blushes for this, for the foreseeable future until they're done. Oh, and then I'm going to have to pick a different blush. No, I think I know what I'll use after this. I used up one of my NARS sample blushes, the one I had for Gulu, or Golu. It had a lot of vowels, so we're just going to leave it as Gulu. But I do have one of Orgasm. It was, you know, a sample product. And I had it in one of my projects a while ago, and it's just one of those things that it's a nice blush, but nothing super fancy, and I think it would be very easy to pan, especially with it being a mini. And since it's very similar to Bahama Mama, if I get used to the way, Hot Mama. Get used to the way Hot Mama pairs with my stuff, because I'm going to use up Argyle before Hot Mama, for sure. If I get used to the way I use Hot Mama, then I can, in theory, just use Orgasm the exact same way. Because let me do a comparison. They're the same. Hot Mama and Orgasm. Orgasm has a little bit more pink in it, a little bit more base color, but I don't see it being much of a problem. Try to transition from Hot Mama to Orgasm when the time comes. Blush, bronzer on, we're doing brows. And then, last tiny, teensy bit of highlight, and I will be completely done with the Moonchild Glow Kit. I don't care that the look I picked ended up not being nearly as color compatible with the highlight I'm gonna pick. I don't give a fuck. I wanted to use it up. That's what's gonna happen. I might top it with a gold just to make it a little more somewhat normally, but I will have been panning that for like 2 years and change, and I'm finally going to be done with all of the shades in that, and I'm real fucking excited. Because A, it means that my goal was correct, that I could pan a traditionally considered unwearable highlighter palette, traditionally unwearable, non-normal duochrome stuff, and I panned it by wearing it to office places. So, if you think you can't wear certain highlighters to the office, try again. Or get better coworkers and bosses. Personally, most of mine didn't have an issue with my makeup. Like, I didn't wear neon colors, but the only thing I had an issue with is one of my coworkers, who was not my boss, commented on black lipstick not being office appropriate. And I don't think I'd even worn black lipstick to the office. I think I was talking about wearing black lipstick to the office, and they're like, oh no. Which might be an over-exaggeration. But then I was telling my other coworker about whether or not that was an option, because I'm like, I really love black lipstick. I feel like black lipstick is the fun, just like, boss-ass bitch vibe of having like a vampy lip, only turned up. Because black lipstick goes with every fucking look. It is, in my opinion, the perfect, mindless lip color. It makes every look better. Which you'd think would mean I would wear black lipstick more often, but no, it means I have to go through a bunch of other things. And eventually we're going to do Quest for the Best Black. It's on my list, but I have a lot of lipstick, and I don't want to buy a million blacks at the same time. I want to go through some other shades. I hear the Melt one's pretty good. I'm sure NYX has one that I want to try. I want it to be a creamy bullet lipstick, not a liquid lipstick, which changes my options a little bit. Because I have one, and I want more. And I feel like a good black lipstick it's like a good red, only for less traditional makeup. There's so many different things that could go wrong in a black lipstick. It could be that the undertones bleed funny, it could be that it's not opaque, that it doesn't line the lips very easily, it could be that it wears off patchy, it could be that the product smears out, and a black lipstick smearing is very, very apparent. All the problems with vampy lipstick only kind of dialed up a little bit because black is the ultimate vampy lipstick. It's such a good, I feel like black is a nude. I feel like black lipstick runs the same options as a good nude. It can either kind of complement a very, bold look, or it can kind of amp up a more soft look, which I guess is the opposite. A bold nude, or I guess a nude with a nude look, will kind of tie everything into one thing that's very normal, and if you have a very, very bold eye and the rest of the face and you put a nude lip on it, it makes it seem a little bit more cohesive and not as aggressive. I don't know. Last teensy bit of highlight in Lucky Clover. We're gonna put that shit on my face. It's also kind of hard to get out of the corner. Another reason I don't really want to wait too long trying to use this up. It makes such a lovely glow though. Everybody who was using this was going on and on about Pink Heart being their favorite, which it is. It's very nice. It was very nice. It was very usable and approachable, but goddamn, Lucky Clover was the best in here. Of all the things in here, I think Lucky Clover and maybe Purple Horseshoe I would have bought as singles. Which is weird because when I first got this palette, I got very into the blue tones, which were easy and wearable. They just are not what I was expecting them to be long term. Which is why I always like how you pan stuff and you see how much your opinions change. Oh, that ended up very glossy. Okay, so we're just going to keep it as green because it's already very shimmery, but this is completely empty now. I have used up all of it. I have panned it. I did my goal of panning the thing that people say is nice but unwearable. You can wear it, and you can wear it to death. Ow. I have to check if I scratched my foundation. God damn it. Did not. Haha. You can wear it, you can pan it, and you can do that at office jobs. Especially because one of mine was talking to older conservative people day in, day out. As my admissions counselor, I had to deal with most people's patients and patients' parents, a lot of which were older and more conservative and managed to wear all that stuff and still be taken seriously. Which also kind of just shows that our assumptions people are going to act certain ways based on our makeup is not always true. It's very rare that somebody says something mean about my makeup. Which also could just be that people are used to not saying anything if they don't have anything nice to say. Okay. I really need to do something about this. Maybe just some glue and a popsicle stick soon. Oh no, I think I know what the super glue is. I can probably just super glue it back together. Yeah. I'm so happy. I'm very proud of this. This makes me so happy. And I still think this should have been like one of the ones with magnets and little holes on the back so you could pop them out and put in new pans. I should have sold singles because I would have bought a single. Back in the day, I would have bought a single of Pink Heart because it was really, really nice, and it was, in my opinion back then, the easiest to pair with looks. But now, kind of been spoiled by other, in my opinion, better pinky red duochrome highlighters. So, now I would have potentially gone to replace Purple Horseshoe and Lucky Clover first. Honestly, I'd probably buy Star again. Eventually, I very well might buy that whole palette again. Because even the looks Like, there were ones that I was not super sure of as I started panning. I'm like, oh, it's going to be rough to do this one, this one. I ended up liking all of them for different uses, for different looks, and I never ran out of ways to enjoy wearing them. I think if I was to redesign it, I'd potentially do different things. Much as I liked both of the blue highlighters, Blue Ice and Blue Moon, I don't think they're needed in the same palette. I think you could have gotten a really nice rainbow. Could have included like a peachy one, a gold one, and a pink one, so you have those nice, warm, very common, approachable colors, and you could have had a nice blue, green, and purple, and maybe a silver just to match that out, since gold and silver are kind of two sides of the same coin. That's as good as my eyes are gonna get. The lashes are not playing along super well today. I'm just sitting here thinking about all the fun highlighters. That means I'm down to 4 highlighter palettes. I went kind of heavy on the highlighter palettes. I think it's the Sweets Sugar or something. I got it because it had, I think it was Marshmallow is the true like yellowy gold duochrome, and some neutrals. And then I have the Sigma one, I have the Kat Von D one, and the Magic palette, the Magic highlighter thing. So, I'm probably always going to be panning at least one highlighter palette in conjunction with some of the singles I bought, because I bought a lot of highlighters when I was getting into highlighters, and I still have a lot of them. Now I will have things to deal with. And eventually I'll run out of highlighter palettes, and I will have a better knowledge of the fact that I probably don't need nearly as many highlighters as I have. I don't use that many. Ooh. Should I do? I'll use my lip liner if I can reach behind you and get my creepy little brush out of there. Come on. Give me my brush. This is fun for you, I'm sure. I will use Bonfire Dance. Should be a nice option for this. I'm ending up with a bunch of lipsticks in pots. Luckily I have the brush, because I had, this one showed up broken and I tried to attach it back to the base and I couldn't, so I just put it into a pot. Then I've had some of the Bite ones. They just end up being a touch too creamy in their later stage of life to work well as a bullet. So if they're squishing against the side and getting stuck, I put them in a pot. It's a really nice reddy orange. So, all the minis, I realized it was a big problem with the minis of the Bite bullets being too soft as I got older. They were fine when I first got them, but I guess the oils just get more moist? I don't know. So they're all in pots now. I don't think that was a good choice with the rest of my face, because it's taking away any of the oranginess of the eyes. But it's already on my face, so let me clean off my brush. And this is the finished look. I like how that turned out. I'm always surprised, and I shouldn't be, by how much I like greens and blues on the outer corners, but like those are some of my favorite dark shimmers to put out there, is a dark green, a dark blue, a dark purple. And they just pair really, really well with like everything else. They all look good with gold, they all look good with silver, with taupe. They just pair very well with everything. And they're a really good shade for depth. Depth and a little bit of fun. I'm gonna go, because I have to clean up the space, and go check on my fermenting dough for sourdough rolls, and then I have to film my end of month check-in on stuff. Project Pan, making progress, things are going great, ending up with a lot of lipstick in tubes. Nope, out of tubes, in pots, that's right. Which means I'm running out of jars for them pretty soon. I've got to stop having issues. This one broke. A couple others I like dug the last little bits out of the bottom and melted them to have pots. The minis were too moist, so I put them in pots. And then my Griffin lipstick snapped off, so I melted it into a pot. Because like most of the bullet was still there. It's a lot of product, and this is a color I like a lot. So I was not wanting to see that go to waste. Which now means I have to get good at putting my lipstick on with a brush. Luckily I have the brush that I like, as opposed to the brush that I didn't like. I will see you guys next time. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe. Yeah.